Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to talk about something that has shocked every single South African who was hoping for change. Something that reveals the ugly truth behind the political games being played by those we trusted. We voted for a new direction, for real change, only to see parties who once promised to break free from the ANC's grasp, now bending over backwards to keep the same corrupt system alive. For the past few years, South Africans have watched in horror as coalition politics became a treacherous game of betrayal, deception, and backroom deals. The Government of National Unity, GNU, was meant to be a fresh start, a way to move beyond the entrenched failures of the ANC and bring real change to this country. But what we've seen is nothing short of a disaster, a farce, a political theater where everyone is playing a role, but no one is doing what they promised. Remember the promises? Smaller parties who claimed to fight the ANC's hold on power were quick to abandon their values once the taste of power became too sweet. These were the parties that swore they would never support the ANC again. They were our champions, speaking out against corruption, cronyism, and mismanagement. But as soon as the GNU became a reality, they traded their principles for a seat at the table, a comfortable spot in a government that was meant to be an opposition force, not an extension of the ANC's failed policies. Yet, despite these efforts, there's a dark cloud hanging over the DA's participation in the GNU. Why, in the name of reason, did they agree to work under an ANC president and deputy president, especially when one of them, Paul Mashatile, is so deeply entrenched in corruption? It's almost unbelievable. This was a choice that felt like an awful compromise. How can they justify sitting at the table with such figures while claiming to fight for the people? It's clear now that their presence in the GNU might not even be about governance. It could be about power and positioning. Smaller parties outside the GNU may want to push the DA out of this coalition to fill those vacancies with their own candidates, transforming the government into a team of yes-men who will back the ANC's every move. The question remains, is this the kind of government we need? Perhaps the DA, realizing they sold their soul to the devil by allowing figures like Ramaphosa and Mashatile to hold office, should take the bold step of filing a motion of no confidence, not just in Ramaphosa, but in every ANC minister currently serving in the GNU. This might be the only way to trigger a new election, one where the people can truly decide whether they want to continue down this disastrous road or demand the change they were promised. And then, Action SA, another party that sold its soul. Just a year ago, they swore to never, under any circumstances, work with the ANC. They promised the voters that they would fight for a better South Africa. No compromises, no deals. Yet, when it came to the VAT hike that would choke the very life out of South Africa's poor, they voted to support it. Action SA celebrated their victory like they just won a political prize, like they had actually done something worthy of applause. But no, this wasn't a victory for South Africa. This was the death knell for the hopes and dreams of the poor and disenfranchised. They took the people's money, voted for a tax increase, and acted like they had earned something for it. They didn't. They've sold out their voters. And then, there's Gayton McKenzie, a man who, less than a year in a ministerial post, has already shown his true colors. From someone who once fought against the ANC to now being an ANC lapdog, he demands the DA resign. Why? Because the DA actually dares to protect the people from the insanity of a VAT hike. Gayton McKenzie, once a hero to the people, is now a traitor to the very ones who voted for him. Just like the ANC, he's become part of the problem. And what does President Ramaphosa have to say about it all? He dismisses the DA's cries, laughing in the faces of those who still care about accountability. He says they can't be part of a government and oppose it at the same time. But what does that really mean? It means the ANC expects blind loyalty, even from those who know its failures. It means power, control, and greed come before the people's will. But let's not forget the real cost of these betrayals. While the politicians play their games, it's the South African people who suffer. The poor, the vulnerable, The ones who voted for change, they're the ones being punished. The VAT hike will cripple them. The tax increase will make it even harder for them to survive. And all these parties, the Patriotic Alliance, Action SA, the smaller parties, they will all sit in their cushy seats in Parliament, insulated from the pain they've caused. Let's not forget, the people spoke. South Africans voted in good faith, believing that the parties they supported would bring about a new political era. They voted for change, they voted for something better. And what did they get in return? A coalition government that turned out to be even worse than the ANC, full of empty promises, betrayal, and utter failure. The once proud parties that swore to fight corruption and restore dignity to South Africa have now become the very thing they once despised. They have sold their souls for power, and in the process, they've betrayed the very people who put their trust in them. And when the ANC turned on them, when they saw the opportunity to secure even more power, they gladly fell in line, allowing themselves to be used as pawns in a game they claimed to oppose. The ANC's grip on power remains unbroken, even as smaller parties play along with the same tired old game. Ramaphosa, Mashatile, and the rest of the corrupt ANC elite continue to hold the reins, ensuring that no matter who enters the GNU, the ANC remains the dominant force. It's a dangerous cycle, one that keeps the country trapped in a state of stagnation and decay. It's time for the people of South Africa to wake up. We can't afford to be led by a government of compromised politicians who put their own interests above the country's. We deserve better than this. We deserve leaders who will stand firm in the face of corruption, who will fight for the people, not for power. It's time to hold these traitorous parties accountable. The DA, despite its flaws and compromises, is our last hope in this fight. But they need to take stronger action, now more than ever. It's time to put an end to the ANC's rule once and for all. Let's demand a new election, one where the people's voices are heard, and where we can finally take back control of our future. We're in a place where standing up for poor South Africans is considered a problem. But selling them out is rewarded with power. This is why people lose faith in democracy. Not because they don't care, but because the politicians they vote for turn out to be worse than the ones they tried to remove. We are not blind, we are not fools, and we will not forget. This betrayal will be remembered. And those who think they can play both sides will soon find out. You can't stand with the people and sell them out at the same time. Let's hear your thoughts in the comments below. And thanks for watching. See you next time.